Alright, here's take 2 at this video I was going to do. I recorded a video and the audio sounded shit. It sounded like I was talking through a toilet paper tube. It's my first time making this type of commentary type video, so feel free to let me know your thoughts. Hopefully I can convey my thoughts to you guys as well. A lot of you may have seen this recent outrage called the support strike in Marvel Rivals. Kind of all started because somebody called Necros. I don't really know what his kind of content is. I don't really watch his content, so pretty recently he just said that, yeah, all support players are brain dead and useless and that it's the easiest role. Take that however you will, whatever your opinion is about that. But my opinion on the matter is that it's kind of silly to say that coming from a Spider-Man player who probably doesn't even play anything besides Spider-Man. Like I said, I can't really say, I'm just assuming here. And because of the vocal outrage that a lot of people have had about this whole situation, Marvel Rivals has made some balances to characters that have probably been affected by this the most. Now, keep in mind, as I said before, that Necros recently said, hey, all support players are brain dead and useless. they're nerfing Spider-Man. It's kind of funny. The exact opposite that he probably wanted to happen happened. They're decreasing the damage range of Amazing Combo from a 5-meter radius to a 4-meter radius. That's really not that bad of a nerf in the first place anyway. People who probably play Spider-Man the most would be able to tell you, hey, this is not a good change it back or something, but I don't really know. The biggest change probably comes to strategists being buffed. Adam Warlock is getting a new effect called Quantum Magic. When a critical hit lands on an enemy, it reduces the cooldown time of Avatar Lifestream by 1 second. So I believe if you hit a headshot or any critical kind of hit with Adam Warlock, I believe his heals now have a little less of a cooldown. Not a bad change, I feel like. I think this is a really good change, in my opinion. As someone who has Adam Warlock to Lord, I spent 30 hours trying to play this character. It is hard trying to keep an entire team of 5 people or 4 other people alive when your heals come out every 1 to 4 business days. It's extremely slow healing. Definitely the worst strategist in the game. And I'm glad to see he's getting a bit of a buff, but it takes a little bit of skill to hit some critical headshots or something like that. But anyways, then Cloak and Dagger is also getting a buff. As Cloak, increase the damage of Dark Force Cloak from 75 to 80 per second. As Dagger, increase the damage of Light Force Dagger on hit from 15 to 18. I don't really think anybody ever does damage as Dagger, so that one kind of feels a little useless. I feel like the biggest change definitely comes from... What the fuck was that? That is a really decent change. I feel like Cloak already has a decent amount of damage, considering that you don't even have to aim to do any damage with Cloak. I don't really know why Cloak and Dagger needed a buff to their damage. Cloak and Dagger was probably in a fine spot in my opinion. Luna Snow is getting a buff. Adjust the damage fall off of Light and Dark Ice from 60% at 40 meters to 75%. I believe that Luna Snow's Light and Dark Ice is probably just her left click and, you know, what you usually use to heal and do damage with. Luna Snow doesn't do enough damage to the point where it's, you know, that crazy at a long range. So Mantis is getting a buff, increases the hit damage of Life Energy Blast from 5 to 55. So she just does a little bit more damage. I personally like that change. I feel like Mantis probably did enough damage before, but yeah, as they said, they're buffing everybody. I think the biggest change here that most people have probably been a little vocal about is Spider-Man getting nerfed. I don't really think it's that big of a change. A character who can move as much as he does, do the combos that he can. I believe that Spider-Man was in a fine spot before any nerf or any buff came his way. Spider-Man players can probably tell you, hey, this is a really big change, and I don't like this. But I can't, because I barely play Spider-Man. Now, I would like to talk about something that I've kind of been thinking about this whole change. After I saw this change come out, I was like, why are we buffing strategists and nerfing Dive? I guess not Dive as a whole, but just kind of, you know, putting that out there that, hey, we're going to be nerfing Spider-Man because people have been complaining about it. Although this is a welcome change for Spider-Man, I hope this doesn't lead down the road of strategists being consistently buffed and Dive players being consistently nerfed. Dive was already in a fine spot as it is. I just believe that if you had a team who paid attention, you could probably manage playing against Dive. Now, why do I think this entire thing of buffing strategist and nerfing Dive is a bad thing? In my opinion, it sets a bad precedent of, hey, if you're going to be too good on Dive, we're going to be punishing you for that, and we're going to be rewarding strategist players, which in my opinion is the easiest role to play in the game. I play Sue Storm when I want to turn my brain off and look at Emma Frost feet pics on my second monitor. I don't play Spider-Man if I want to watch a video on my second monitor while playing Spider-Man. So I kind of stand by what I said. I feel like if we're going to be punishing people for being really good at playing dive, it's probably going to put a really bad taste in people's mouth. Like, why am I being punished for doing Magic's combos really effectively? I feel like if you're going to nerf somebody, why don't we nerf the character that just gets free stackable shield for pressing a button? What I'm looking at is, why is Winter Soldier getting a buff? The character who can just press a button and hook people from across the map and get free shield and is pretty much unkillable during their ult is now getting a buff. Really strange to me, in my opinion. Punishing players who have to play off their cooldowns and effectively execute their combos and constantly worry about where they are on the field and just can't mindlessly rush into a team is probably a bad idea. But overall, I think we shouldn't go down a path of punishing dive players and rewarding strategists for, you know, just doing strategist things. I believe that it is a team game, and if your team can't play effectively, I don't really know why an entire role should be punished for that. But the strategists are definitely getting a pretty big buff to their damage, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Anyways, this is my first time doing this type of video, so if you guys enjoyed, let me know, and leave me a comment if you guys agree or disagree with these changing. Let me know what you guys think. That's about it. I'll see you guys next week. See you.